Hello students. In the previous class we discussed about the what is the necessity of pumping of sewage, right? So now what are the different types of pumps used for the pumping of sewage, right? So in that we discussed about reciprocating pump, centrifugal pump, as well as the pneumatic type pump. Okay. So in this today's class we are going to discuss about the pumping stations, right? So we already know that there is a place, okay? There is a place, and where we are collecting low level sewage in a sump. This is called sump. From here we are going to install the pump, okay, so that the sewage will be discharged to the higher level. The sewage will be discharged to the higher level. The place where we are going to install this sump as well as the pump and other accessories like screens, git chamber, right? So that place is known as the pumping station, right? Pumping station is actually a place, right? So where we are going to collect your sewage and you are going to install your pump, and you have to pump the or lift the sewage from low level area to the high level area. So that particular place is known as the pumping station, right? So in this class we are going to see what is pumping station, right? What is the requirements of pumping station, right? Then what are the different components of pumping station, we will see in this class. Okay. So now pumping stations, it is a building where pumps and other accessories are installed for lifting of sewage is called pumping station. That definition you already know, right? So wherever the pumps and other accessories are installed for pumping of sewage, that place or building is known as the pumping station, right? Next, such building should be located at a carefully chosen site. Okay, we have to choose the correct place for this location of site. Okay. Next, location of pumping station. Okay, so we have 4 points here, right, where we know locate the pumping station. Okay, the first point you can see, proper location of pumping station requires a comprehensive study of the area to be served to ensure that the entire area can be adequately drained, right? The first point is, if you are taking an area, okay, it is having slope like this, right? So you have to place your pumping station the place where all these drainage will come and collected here. It should not be located here, it should not be located here, since we can't get all the sewage there. This point slope is like towards this point, no? So where the point which can collect all the sewage from the complete area, that location you have to select. So that is the first point. First point, what is telling? The place where the whole sewage will come and joins, right? The place where you can go collect the sewage, that point you have to select for the construction of pumping station. That is the first point. Then coming to the second one, the site for pumping station should be near to a river or a stream or a storm water drain, so that in case of emergencies such as of breakdown of pumping machinery, power failure, it will be possible to divert the overflow, right? This pumping station should be kept near to the any river or any drain, right? So any stream. Why? Because if there is any damage to the motor, if there is a breakdown, any repair, during that conditions, continuously sewage flow will be here, will comes to the station, but we are unable to pumping it. Okay, so in that emergency, what we have to do? We have to divert that water to a river or a stream. Okay, so if there is a river, na, so if continuously sewage will come to this pumping station, no, our pumps are not working. Okay, still it will accumulate and it will create lots of problems. Okay, so during that case, okay, it is not possible to send the sewage out of that pumping station. Okay, for that we are going to locate our pumping station near to any stream. Okay, doing such breakdowns or repairs, the sewage will diverted into the nearby streams and river. Okay, so we can divert the overflow. That is the second point. Next, third point. However, pumping stations near the river stream should be located that they are not liable to get flooded due to high floods in the river or stream. Okay, so in the previous point we told that it will be so advantage when the pumping station is near to the river, but the another disadvantage, if you are locating your pumping station near the river na, if rainy season river will flow with lots of flood na, so with that flood water you should not get flooded due to high floods in the river or stream, etc. The site for pumping station should be aesthetically satisfactory. You should not be get flooded when river gets the flood. Okay, next, the pumping station should be located that it is easily accessible under all weather conditions, right? So all weather condition means due to rainy season you need to come there, due to winter, due to, in the summer, winter and then rainy season. So at any time you can easily accessible to that point, that place. Okay, so that site you have to select. Okay, so these are the important points to keep in mind for the location of a pumping station. Okay, so this is the pumping station, right? So where we are having the at high level one sewer manhole here, right? So this is the low level area. From here we are going to send the sewage there, right? So here we have a well. This is called wet well, where we will collect the complete sewage. Here we have a motors, right? So with this we are going to lift. Here we have a valve. Okay, through this pipe it will go and join with the higher level manhole sewer, right? Now, component parts of pumping station. So we have some 7 to 8 parts for the pumping station, right? So here the first one is grit chamber or grit channel or debris pit, right? Since the sewage will contain all grit. So grit means the particles, the solid particles, right, having size very less, and it may be the sand, it may be the shells of eggs, right, like that. Those particles are called grit. Okay, so you can see below that any canal, right, you can see the sand and mud and grit, no? So that is called grit. Next, screens and coarse and fine. Okay, so this will be removed, the particle which can settle under gravity. But sometimes, not sometimes, always the sewage may contain the floatings, right? So it will float on the water like paper, plastic papers, chappals, right? So these kind of things will be there in the sewage. Okay, so even leaves, right? So food matter, anything will be float on the top surface of sewage, right? So if you are sending same sewage into the pump, it will get, what is going to get? It is going to choke, it is going to block, right? So that should not be there for the pumps. That's why we need to remove all floatings, right, with help of screens. Okay, that has to remove both coarse material as well as the fine material. Okay, next, coming to third one, sumps are wet wells or receiving wells. Okay, so the well, the place where you are going to collect your all kind of sewage, that well is known as the wet well. Since it is in always in wet condition, that is called wet well, or we can call it as sump. Then coming to the fourth one, that is pump room or dry well, right? So dry well, it is a well but it won't have any water, that is called it was dry well. In the dry well we are going to keep pumps. Okay, that's why it is called pump room. Then pumps with motors or driving units. Pumps with motors or driving units. Okay, so now the pump with motors or driving units, either may use any diesel engine or any engine, no, that we can use. Otherwise pump and as well as the motor, that is the important part of pumping station is pump with motor. Okay, so next, inlet or low level sewer and rising main or high level sewer, right? So through the inlet sewer only you are going to get sewage into the wet well, right? From wet well, with the help of motors, right, and pumps, we are going to discharge the water with the help of this outlet or high level sewer. This is the inlet, this is the outlet. Okay. Next, emergency overflows or bypass to remove sewage during emergencies, right? So we are already told when there is a repair of pump or motor, right? So we are unable to pump the sewage, right? So during that condition, that is called emergencies. In that case, we have to divert the overflow of sewage into the wet well into a stream or a river near to the pumping station. That's why pumping station it is advantage when pumping station is locating nearby river or stream. Okay. Next, ventilation arrangements such as extraction fans need to be there. Okay. So if you are keeping so many days there, the water sewage, it is going to putrescible or it is going to biodegrade, and it is going to create so many gases. With the help of that, you will get odor, right? So with the help of water, workers cannot be work properly. That's why have to create the ventilation arrangements in the pumping station. Next, machineries, accessories such as flow recorders. Flow recorder means measurement, how much flow is coming, how much we are getting going the pumping, right? Float operated switches, okay, sluice valves like this. We have other accessories. It may be used accordingly your purpose, right? If it is necessary, we will go for thing up to this, up to 8. We have to be should be there for the pumping station. Okay. Next, grid channel. The first one is called grid channel or debris pit. Okay. So it is the first channel or first part of the pumping station where we are going to collect the grit. So it is like a sand like a thing, right? So it may be in the black color, it may be in brown color, okay, the particles, right? So these particles can settle under the gravity, like plain sedimentary tank in the case of drinking water treatment, okay. Here also the particle will get settled when the flow is reduced to the some velocity, okay. If flow is going more, no, high velocity is there, what happened? There is no settling of particle, okay. So that will take away. In the case of CUS also we told that it is a self-cleaning velocity, right? When you are reducing the velocity, settling will occur. If you are increasing the velocity of flow, okay, so it will carry all the materials. Now here in the case of sewers, that high velocity is required. Now in the case of this grid chamber, we need to reduce the speed of or velocity of that water flow, so that the grit particle which are carrying along with the sewage will get settled, right? Now the sewage arriving at the pumping station contains solids of, okay, indestructible nature, okay, indestructible, we can't destruct it, okay, it will be in the same size, okay, such as grit, gravel, sand, in addition to solids, suspensions such as fecals, papers, rags, etc. All these will come to the pumping station. It is necessary to remove as much as this material as possible as pumping before pumping. Otherwise, these sand will go and tear and wear the pipes as well as the pumps. It will have a angular sharp edges, no, sand will have, if sand will come and touches the surface, it is going to damage, right? So as to minimize the wear and tear of the pump impellers as well as rising main, pipes will get damaged as well as pump impellers will gather, otherwise if we are not removing, okay. Next, thus for removing grit from the sewage, a grit channel or detritus pit is provided. So for the removal of these kind of grit, first point what I told, so some indestructible matter, right, nature, the particle like grit, sand and everything will come along with paper and everything, but we have to remove it. Second point what I told, we have to remove the particles, otherwise it is going to damage the what is called impeller of the pump as well as the pipes. And third point we are telling that to remove that we are going to provide the grit channel or detritus pit, okay. Next, The grid channel is a long basin with a enlarged cross section. It is a long basin, right? Too much length will be there. Why? Because what is the need of length? If he is going very small velocity, right? The water will flow with very small velocity, so that we are going to give chance for every particle, so that it is going to settle like this. Okay? Why it won't settle like this? Since the flow will take place in this direction, and gravity will work like this. Okay? In resultant way, it will come and settle here. Okay, so the grid channel is a long basin with enlarged cross section, which results in the reducing velocity of flow, so that the flow velocity should be 0.15 to 0.3 meter per second. This is with this small velocity. Okay, the particle will get settled in the long basin, right? Particle will get settled in the long basin. Okay, next, the bottom of the channel is kept below the inert line of the inert sewers to allow the deposition of the grit, which is removed by endless chain, okay, to which perforated buckets are fixed. Okay, now what is telling now? Now what is telling? This bottom, right? The channel bottom. If it is the channel, you are sitting side, you know. So we have a other channel there. We have to make some depression here. We have to make a depression here, so that the settled matter cannot be allowed again into the sewer. This settled particles will be removed by a, what is called? It is a chain, right? We have to use some chain. Okay, we have this kind of arrangement, right? Here we have buckets. If you are seeing in an enlarged way, this with help of motor it will rotate. Here also it will rotate. Okay, so at the end for this chain, the arrangements will be like this. Okay, so here whenever these particles are there, what is going to happen? Whenever you are making rotation, no, it will come, it will take. Okay, here we have a collection, right? Here we have a collection. In that thing it will fall. The grit will be collected like this. It will be get cleaned. Okay, so this is the endless chain. Or we have a thing like that. Okay. Next, the chain is operated by a external source of power, and the grit is dredged into a closed container till it is removed and deposited off. Okay, I already told that, right? So this will be connected either one, or here you can keep it connected to the motor, so that this will be driven with the help of a power source, right? So that's why here we will dredge. Dredging means we are going to take all the settled grit here. It will take and it will going to collect in the thing. Okay, so the grit channel should have a minimum capacity of 1% of daily dry weather flow. Okay, so it is having a 1% of dry weather flow. What is dry weather flow and wet weather flow? Dry weather flow is the generation of sewage. Wet weather flow is in case of rainy seasons we are going to get the storm water. That is called wet weather flow. Moreover, there should be two similar units, each of which can be used, allowing other to be cleaned. Okay, so like this we have to have the Okay, so two units, both grit and as well as grit channels. Two channels will be there. Why? Because two cannot operate at a time, since one will be in cleaning condition. So that's meaning while during that time we are going to use another grit chamber beside to that. Once that is this first cleaning is over, then we will shift water to here. Then we will start cleaning the second one. Like that. In the standby, we are going to use these things. In small installations, grit is removed once in a week, where large installations, it is maybe removed continuously, daily process. Grit will be removed daily. In the case of large, if it is a small unit, we will clean it for a once in a week. Okay, next. Second thing, right? Second part is screens, right? So in case of first case, we are remove that the particles which are going to settle under the gravity, like sand and gravel. Okay. Now we are going to remove the floatings also, even papers, what is called paper, plastic, right? So whatever it is floating on the surface, right? Or it will come along with the other depths. Okay. We are going to remove those particles. That thing is called screens. Okay. So after the removal of grit from the sewage, it is made to pass through a screens to trap the floating matter. I already told you that we are going to remove the floating matter in case of what is called screens, right? Such as racks, papers, sticks, etc. It is necessary to remove these, otherwise they will choke the pumps. If you are not removing any paper and this thing, no, so that is going to choke the pumps. Okay. Next, if disintegrated pumps are used, the use of screens can be avoided. If we are using a disintegrated pumps, why? Because they have already screens around it. If you are using these kind of pumps, we are not going to use the screens. However, the disintegrated pumps are not commonly used, and hence screens are invariably provided. Okay, these pumps are not used in the, okay, so commonly, that's why we are going to provide always screens at the pumping station. Okay. Next, screens are two types. We already know that screens are two types, that is coarse and fine. In large installation, it is usual to provide both types of screens. Both can provide. Screens are two types. One is coarse screen to remove coarse particles, and second one is fine screen to remove fine particles, very small particles. Okay. The sewage is first passed through the coarse screen, which is made of wrought iron bars, okay, kept parallel to each other and having clear spacing of 50 to 100 mm. Okay. In between them to intercept solids, the type scrubbing brushes and blocks or woods, etc. Right. So first of all, we are going to provide very, if you are seeing the, right, so if you are going to see the screen now, it will be look like this. Okay, these are the bars, wrought iron bars, right, which are kept parallel to each other and having a clear space of 50 to how much? 50 to 100 mm. 100 mm. Here I gave the size of space between two bars. It is 50 to 100 mm between them, right? So next, such material trapped by the coarse screen is removed by hand racking. Simply we will have some stick end, okay, we will remove help of a hand, that is called hand racking. The sewage is then passed through the fine screen, right? Next, after the coarse screen, you are going to send it to the fine screen, where 25 mm will be the size. Okay, all except that are very fine particles will remove. Okay, the size of 25 mm, all thing will get removed. Next, the screens trapped by the fine screen are removed by a mechanical rakes which have fingers or teeth fixed horizontal bars that are attached to the endless roller of chain running over the spokes, right? So if this small screen, if screen is like this, right, if you are seeing from side view, okay, so whatever screens are here, this will be removed by a chain. Already we discussed in case of grid channel, no? So where we have a buckets like this This is endless chain. Due to this, if it is rotating like this, no, it will come, take the things, it will go and throw here. Again it will come, throw. It is like this. We are going to clean the fine screens. In the case of coarse screen, we are going to use the hand racking, right? Next, the fingers enters the bottom of the screen and while removing upward along the screen collects the trapped screenings. Okay, whenever it is comes down, okay, while coming down, okay, this screen will collect all the screenings here. It will go and throw at the top. So that is the thing in this point what is tell you. Like next, the fingers then remove vertically upward till they are over a collecting through, then they tilted and the screens are deposited in a sealed bins for quick disposal. Here it will come and dispose into a sealed bins. Next, sumps are wet wells. The third thing is called sumps are wet wells. Okay, so where you are going to collect your sewage, that well is called sump well or wet well. A sump or wet well is provided to form a suction pit for which pump draws sewage through suction pipe. It also acts as equalizing basin to minimize the load and fluctuations on the pump. Okay, so it is like a well where we are going to keep the suction. Okay, this is the screenings provided for 12. Okay, here we will have a pump.